And welcome back to Master Site. Today we have game 3 of Kansas City GT. It'll be the last game of the event here for the short weekend. I'm going to be playing against Alex, newer player from Colorado. Came over with Brian, who was my first round opponent. And Alex will be playing his Empire Dust. So let's go ahead and take a look at his list and we'll get right into the game. So Alex starts off with a horde of skeleton spearmen with Mesa Crushing, regiment of mummies with the pipes, two regiments of skeleton warriors, a horde of guardian archers with the piercing arrow, a regiment of the archer cav with helm of confidence, regiment of revenant cav with j boots, desert swarm, Soul Snare, Monolith. He has an Army Standard Bearer with Loot. He has a Rev Champ with Mounted and has Surge. Then he has Sebek, Shobik, and a Chariot Pharaoh. So brings him out to 15 drops, 22 unit strength. All in all, pretty solid list. I think the only thing that I'm just personally not a big fan of are the Archer Cav, but um, after seeing him play them, I think they could have a place in the army. So, but yeah, we're gonna get into the game, and for this one, here is Alex. For this game, we're gonna be playing Smoke and Mirrors, I believe it is. So this is our deployment. So tokens are Alex placed the 5 bluff on my side of the board. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put 1, 2. There's one back here. 3, 4, 5. For the tokens I placed, I went one token over here on the left, one pointer in the back right, and then the 2 pointer just right in the middle. I, I know that for EoD he was probably trying to keep all his close together. So this 2 pointer probably shouldn't be there, but I'm not a huge fan of this scenario in general. The bluff tokens all together. I just think they kind of delay the game. This particular game is basically pillage, or this particular scenario is basically pillage. It's just we find out where the tokens are on turn 3 or after turn 3 instead of at the beginning of the game. But anyway, and based off his deployment, I'm assuming that all 3 of the ones that he placed in the middle are worth points. But who knows? Could be wrong. We'll see. So, terrain wise, we have a large hill on the left with the little hill in the top center. 2 impassables. We got an obstacle here, and I think there's an obstacle over on that side, as well as maybe one over here too. We then have a forest and forest, and then we have a flat piece of terrain here, and I think that's the only flat piece on the board. So, oh, and there's an obstacle right here. So, yeah. And for deployment, Alex put Shobik on the flank with a regiment of skeletons behind. He scouted up the scavengers a little bit. Soul Snare, Monolith, Mummies. It has Guardian Archers, his army standard bearers behind them, the horde of spears with Sebek behind them, and I think the Rev Champ behind them as well. Regiment of skeletons behind the Pharaoh chariot, and the Revenant Cav and Archer Cav. For me, I put 2 regiments of warriors out over here. the Horde of Warriors right here. We have the Taskmaster on Chariot, another regiment of warriors. Behind them is uh, the dwarf shooters, decimators. We have a slave driver regiment of chariots. We put our sharpness tunnel runners in the middle again. Slave driver. We have regiment of chariots, two decimator units, the Ironcaster. Then we have Skinflayer, Cries of Ram, and the J Boot one out here. So you'll notice the dwarves are usually facing backwards. They're actually facing forwards, but their guns just don't fit where I want them. But this one is actually facing that building right there. So yeah, they're just gonna turn and run forward 4 inches. It just worked out. So Alex won the roll off for first turn, and he takes it. So he moves forward with everything, and he doesn't move forward with the enslaved guardians, but he does surge them. So that way they're on the hill, they're going to shoot without the penalties. And his archer cav take a couple pot shots too. His guardian archers are shooting over the top and hit the decimators back here for 6 wounds and pick them up. So that's about average for them. So yeah, this is the beginning of my turn 1, and this is what it looks like after I move. So move forward fairly aggressively, keeping out of charge ranges of some stuff that I just don't really want to care about. But over on the left, we got our 1-pointer over there. We want to send this regiment over. He's already committed far enough up that he can't really turn the skeletons around or get Shobik over there. So that's what we're doing. Moving up, our hammer measured force is up against the defense 6 guy again. That's always a good sign. Yeah, and then over here, move forward. So thought process over here. These guys, they hit on 4s, but they have no thunderous or crushing. Bane chance all the way over there, so that's not going to help him. These guys, they do have the J boots, so they can come in, but they're looking at, for them against defense 5, it should be 8 hits and about 5 or 6 wounds. The chariot character would be hindered, so he's looking at only doing like 2 wounds on average. So, 6 wounds, 2 wounds, about 8 wounds. I have what's called my Golek Skin Flare just slightly behind the regiment to prevent Golek from getting double charged because he's only a dash 16. But the regiment right now is a 16-18. So I feel pretty comfortable, pretty confident between all of this damage here. So 6 wounds. He can't triple charge because of the board edge over here either. So we're looking at, 6 wounds here and maybe 2 wounds there. So 8. So he needs an 8 to even waver me. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process over there. But yeah, so we didn't bother shooting a lightning bolt. We know how effective that is against EoD with a soul snare, and Civic Ray. But we did move forward to put ourselves in position. He has a gap here, and I will try and take out these Guardian Archers if I get the opportunity to. So on to Alex's turn 2. He charges on the right flank here, but chooses not to engage anywhere. He moves the chaff forward, but yeah, he chooses not to go for any engagements over here. So this is how it ended up over here. This is after shooting, actually. So what he did was he moved the skeleton archers up here an inch away, and then he shot over top with them and then surged them in. So he got 2 wounds into Kryza with cover shots, and pretty lucky. But yeah, hopefully the luck stops there. So um, yeah, and he's just what's it called? You know, like I said, it. I feel like this is odds are in our favor for that one. So um, yep, everything over here. His shooting takes off a red troop of decimators again with the shooting. So 2 for 2. That's unfortunate. We wanted those shots. We gotta get some shooting done here. So over here he does 8 wounds, which was average. From what we discussed. Um, and he did get the waiver. So his chariot character only did 1 wound, which one below average. But yeah, unfortunately over here with the Chrysler Ram not being nimble, we're stuck. So we yeah, we don't have a good spot, good option getting wavered here. So this sucks, but oh well. What are you gonna do? So yeah, this is how it looks beginning of my turn, and then this is what we end up doing. So we go ahead and just tarp it up Shobik. Not only is it the hammer measured force unit that's hitting Shobik, but it's also just the highest nerve, the most nerve that we have that he has to fight through, and we don't care if it dies. So we're in a good spot. We do double charge the scavengers here, or the what's called the scarabs here, to try and stop them up. We charge the enslaved guardians. We're obviously hindered, but this is the sharpness one, so hitting on 4s now, wounding on 3s, so we should be looking at like 8 wounds on average. Um, Probably not killing him, but with 24 attacks, we might be able to spike something. So, and then over here, we end up moving forward, but staying an inch away. I want him to be hindered when he comes into me. Um, I'm not going to kill this horde, so I might as well just hold it up for a while. We do take the flank with the decimators into the chariot character. This effectively pins him in where he's not going to be able to countercharge us. So we're pretty good with that. Yeah. So, the mistake though that we make, if everybody's looking here properly, this unit was well in range at the beginning of the turn to just charge these mummies, but we didn't charge the mummies, and we're likely not going to kill enslaved guardians. So what are the mummies going to do? Just obviously they're just going to turn around and get a rear surge, and all things will be good in the world for him. This is just stupid on my part. I don't know what I was thinking. No excuses here, but yeah, shooting wise, you see Army Standard Bearer here in between the gap. Well, I got my double fireball set up, and we shoot in between the gap, and we kill him. So hey, something's going our way. Yeah, and then combat wise, we end up killing the chaff unit, overrun with the regiment, and then turn the taskmaster to look this way. Otherwise, we did 6 wounds over here, and I think I did 6 wounds to Shobik coming out of the forest, which was awesome, ridiculously awesome. I should do 1 or 2. But you know how that goes. No, those wounds aren't going to stick around on Shobik. So yeah, this is how it looks at the beginning of Alex's turn, and then he goes in, so he double charges here. The mummies just turn and they're going to hit the corner. They're already in my rear arc. He charges there, and then he charges there, and then he backs off an inch. Doesn't withdraw, just backs off an inch. So that way he can do the same thing he just did and shoot over the top, get surged into these guys. All is good in the world for Alex then. Oh, and his Rev Champion came into my Ironcaster over here, which was uh, pretty big. So, but he was hindered. So, yeah, shooting wise, he gets the surge, of course. I mean, no doubt in our mind that he was getting that. So, and then he surges back in over here after he shoots. I think he did one wound more to this guy. So he kills this unit. He ends up backing up 3 inches here and only an inch there. After regen and everything, he's down to 3 wounds there. I think I shot lightning bolt at these guys. Oh, the other thing was our sharpness tunnel runners came in and only did 5 wounds. So I don't know what it is with taking like a true hammer unit like that, but they never actually do average. I would love for them to actually do average, but 5 wounds when we should be doing 8 is it's out of the norm on the low end. Like, a wound or two, yeah, but 3 wounds short, it's unfortunate here. Um, oh, and that's after he life leech, so I guess I did 6 wounds. So, anyway. So this is what it looks like for my turn 3 here, and the Chrysler Ram's actually, free to do stuff. So let's do stuff, and we go ahead and do some charges here. So not sure if this was the right call over here. I mean, I think it was. I feel confident that the Chrysler Ram should be able to beat out the Archer Cav. They're only a dash 15, defense 4, so everything I hit, I'm wounding on 2s with Vicious, and I have Rampage against these guys, so um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it should be good, and then Golek, it went into the Regiment of Cav to block them up for a turn, so that way hopefully we can get in there and finish them off next turn, but who knows? We'll see here. So let's go a little closer. So we countercharged Shobik over here. We did that before we moved this regiment, so we didn't have to slide over too far. We did charge the Soul Snare, so luckily the Soul Snare hasn't really done a whole lot. It shot this unit, but his Enslaved Guardians have been on fire when they got to shoot. We did charge our slave driver into the archers, which after we had moved these guys like this, there was only a clear path that was unhindered for us. So ideally, just trying to block them up at this point, stop them from shooting. That Taskmaster on Chariot's not very strong, so we're just, living on a prayer, pulling a Bon Jovi. Since I gave up the charge to the individual, I wasn't able to do what I wanted to over here, which is just back up and keep allowing him to just get a hindered charge on this regiment for the whole game, basically. So we counterattack, and then we withdraw with the decimators, and we do actually turn them around. We're going to unload all of our fireball and then our lightning bolt from here over into the individual here. It's one of the only actual targets that matter. So nothing else we shoot at. We can't really concentrate fire on anything. I mean, we could kind of on this guy, but odds of killing him aren't great. It's the same odds of killing this guy, I guess. But yeah, he has regen though. So and the nice thing is he's right up against my regiment, so he can't do an individual pivot to get in line of sight of either of these individuals right now, because he'd land on my unit. So we're kind of protected, but he can do a 180 and hit the decimators if he wanted to. So yeah, so you know, we need to come back a little bit here. We're on the back foot at this point. Not enough stuff is going our way. So, um, something went our way though. I think we did like 4 or 5 wounds with the Taskmaster on Chariot and rolled the 8 twice. I think we needed to pick up the Enslaved Guardians, which is awesome. Was the Guardian Archer was not expecting that at all. Um, so at this point, looking at the battlefield, I think we're really going to struggle on the right flank. So I turn him back to look at the left flank, uh, knowing that you know the tokens back here and this one that I'm sitting on here is likely worth points. And if the ones way over here are worth points that he put down, I mean, I'm happy with that. I got a guy sitting out here just waiting for it. At the end of this turn, we'll find out. So, um, yeah. So then we go over here. We do kill the cavalry unit, and then we went ahead and overran. I did measure. We're out of the front arc of the chariot character here. So that's why we did this. And Goluk did a couple wounds into these guys, soften them up. So hopefully Goluk can stick around. No thunderous charge over here. We like our odds for defense 5. He's hitting on 4s. He should have 8 hits and like 3 wounds. He needs a 6 twice. It's not a gimme. So we need one of those things going our way over there. So. Otherwise, everything else kind of stuck. We did get Shobik up to 8 wounds total. I think we even rolled 10 one time, but we didn't get the 10 twice. So, and so this is Alex's move for turn 4. Oh, we flipped over the tokens. So, as we expected, the 2 on the left were worth nothing. We got a 1-pointer, 1-pointer, 2-pointer, and obviously our 2-pointers in the middle, and our 1-pointer back there and back there. So. So Alex, double charges here again. His soul snare was looking to the right. I believe he shot the soul snare into the chariots, the tunnel runners last turn to just guarantee the kill. So it was looking that way. So he turned 90 degrees and ran back that way. Yep. So and then over here, he took the individual into the regiment. He wants to try and guarantee that kill. It's going to be tough though. He's hindered. Mummies are, mummies. I'm rallied twice, so I'm a 14-16 right there, and yeah, that's not going to be an easy one to break up. So. And he keeps coming in there. He was just in range for a hindered charge into the flank of decimators here, so he went ahead and did that. The pain. So not only did he break this guy, but I think he did like 8 wounds without any thunderous charge over here. So, yeah, just unfortunate. I overran Kryza quite a bit. Which I probably shouldn't have overran, but I was thinking I wanted to leave myself the option that, I could potentially just run her way back there and get to this token. But anyway, I should have just reformed and even put it to where I could run past this unit and potentially hit this unit in the flank because they're sticking in the forest over here. But yeah, I just have made too many mistakes in this game. Not too happy with it so far. And obviously his chariot ran forward, pivot, so he's boxing me in. Yeah. So we're not in a good spot over on the right here at all. He does kill this regiment in the middle too, which again was not expected. When they blew up, they did 2 wounds to the mummies and no wounds, or 1 wound, I think, to the individual because he had life leech. So, a little bit lackluster on the detonations there, boys, but that's all right. And then you can see over on the left here, he did kill these guys. They blew up. Shobik's up to 9 wounds right now. Um, that's great. It'd be even better if I had anything worthwhile that could maybe put another few wounds on him, and then we even still need a 6 twice, and Shobik's just going to heal everything as Shobik does if that doesn't happen. So, anyway. Um, I don't really want to kill Shobik. Shobik's only 1 unit strength. I want to. I'll let him live. I want to kill everything else, though. So that was a really big swing turn in Alex's favor. So we are in crisis mode at this point. Our hammers are dead. The Chrysler has no viable targets because, again, with the overrun, I just out of line of sight of everything over here. So we don't have much of any punch left here. So it's not looking great. So we go ahead and do what we can. We're looking at this 2-pointer over here and just saying, if I have enough bodies left, I can control it. 1 point, 2 points there. Maybe hold him off of these two back here and maybe fight for a draw. It's basically what we're thinking at this point. So we go ahead, take the Taskmaster on Chariot back over here into the flank of this unit, and we hit the front of it as well. We just get out of combat over here and turn and reform like this. His toes just still in the forest there, so skeleton warriors, in the front hindered. They shouldn't be doing anything to my decimators. He should have 2 hits, 1 wound, I guess, is average. And the Gore Impaler did what it can. It ran forward 8 inches, turned. Um, gonna take our hits like a champ. I'd be a little bit more optimistic if I wasn't sitting on a few wounds already. The couple plink damage that he got early on with the bow shots, and I'm uninspired, not rallied out there. And he's in range with both these guys here. So, hindered cab charge the front. I think I could survive that, but the chariot as well. It's not likely for me. So, we do kill this regiment though on the far left, which is again good. Not really expected, but we'll take it. We will go ahead and overrun like so. I'm using my individual over here. You can kind of see in this picture right here to prevent Shobik from doing some surge shenanigans stuff over here into the Taskmaster on Chariot. So his surge option is he could surge him by going around forward and hit the front of the Taskmaster, or he can try to go straight through the individual, which he likely does. So, but Taskmaster's only 1 unit strength, so it's not the end of the world. We do kill the Soul Snare back here, which is great, and we turn to face like this. So, like I said, we got some unit strength sitting over here for this 2-pointer. Nothing else really worked for us. We tried to shoot the skeleton unit and only did a couple wounds between all of our fireball and our lightning bolt, and yeah, it just didn't pan out for us. So over here on Alex's turn 5 now, I thought he was just gonna charge these guys over here, but I don't know if his thought exactly if he was trying to just get close to the token, but I thought he could charge these guys. I guess I don't think I'm inspired. So uninspired, unrallied, I think he has a good chance of actually picking him up, but maybe he is just barely touching that terrain, so he'd be hindered. But I do have some wounds on me, so I don't know. But instead, he decides to move over here, and then he goes for a double surge play. So he just pivots Shobik around, and he's surging him into the regiment here. And then he also went to surge these guys over here. So it was a long surge. It was a 1 inch to Shobik, so he used his Rev Champ for that. And it was like a 5 or 6 inch surge with the mummies. So he went ahead and tried it. Um, Nothing else gets him close to the token. The mummies are still out of range of the token though, so we gotta keep them boxed out at this point. And then yeah, I didn't measure or look. The Ram was just in a bad spot either way. This ended up being a flank and a front charge. Um, so Ram's gonna go down over there, and then he does charge the decimators here. So, yep. And he healed Shobik before he surged in, so Shobik's back down to 6 wounds. He's gonna live forever. So, yeah. So that's how we're shaping up here on turn 5. He kills the Ram, turns the chariot to face towards the decimators over here. Go figure. He does 6 wounds to rats. His Shobik was hitting and doing really well throughout most of the game. 6 wounds is about average for him, but even before that, he was pumping out eight plus wounds or so, which is amazing. He does kill the regiment of rats in the middle here with his horde, so they go up to 5 wounds after the last breath, and he just had sidestepped them to be close to that 2 point token. So my turn 5. This is where we're at. It's really just gonna be kind of speed forward from here. So we stay engaged with Shobik. We bring in. I use my individual kind of force me over to get closer to the token here. With these guys. Also, the intent here was to try and prevent Shobik from getting a withdraw by being closer to him that way. But after we looked at it, there's a pretty big gap in between my units and his here, so I don't think I actually accomplished that. Um, but nonetheless, double charging into the mummies, which I think they still have their 2 wounds on them from the detonation before. They haven't gotten a regen success. So, and over here, he did not do any wounds to the decimators, so we go ahead and just do a withdraw and then a slight reform. So anything that comes into them is going to be outside of 1 inch of the token here. So they're just, trying to box people out at this point. Yeah. So our shooting actually worked this turn. Defense 4-15, it should just melt to, 18 fireball, 10 decimator shots, and 3 lightning bolt over here coming in as well. And it actually did this turn. So, a turn later than we wanted, but that's all right. We got something. So now it's just the chariot that we have to weather for. If we weather it for 1 turn, if the game ends on 6, then we have this 1 point, we have the other 1 point way on the far left, and then we have that 2 point token as long as the mummies don't break through and overrun. Um, so we have a win on 6 if all those things work. But if the mummies break the Taskmaster and overrun, we lose. If this chariot breaks this and overruns, we lose. So it's loose here. So into his turn 6, he breaks the regiment, and I think he decides to overrun a little bit, or maybe he turns a pivot, but either way. He brings a double charge into the Taskmaster, which we got these guys up to 7, 8 wounds, something like that. 8 wounds, I think it was, and he only regenerated 1 with the mummies, so that's possible, maybe. We could do it, boys. You're saying there's a chance? Mummies will live forever, I'm sure. So, but he, I believe, is hindered coming in here. mummies not hinder because it's a counter charge. So, and then he does bring the chariot over here, and then Alex is getting a little greedy here, I think, and he charges. He's within 3 inches over here still, with the horde, and he has the monolith right there. But he charged the individual to try and pick him up, and he does not. He doesn't pick up either of these units, in fact. So we live for this turn. Um, and the Taskmaster on Chariot as well lives for this turn. He isn't even wavered. So, um, yeah, it's my turn, but I'm hoping this is the last turn. Turn 6, that should be it, please. That's all I want. Just end it on 6. Uh, Hell, we'll end it with a bang. We got 10 wounds onto those guys, and we kill them. Actually, Taskmaster was wavered. I'm sorry. So it was only the rat slaves that put in like 3 or 4 more wounds into the flank, and we rolled an 8 twice. And yeah, sometimes better lucky than good, I guess, is the name of the game here. So okay, we take that. We take those. That's a big win for sure. And then yeah, over here on the right, we ran away with um the slave driver and then brought up our Ironcaster. But if you notice, our Ironcaster is a little bit further over to the right here. I mean, this is just a bait. I don't care if he lives or dies, but if he charges, he's out of 3 inches of that token. And especially since those mummies died, those 2 point tokens, yeah, I got something that could get there. If if it's not wavered or dead, but I got something. So there's a chance. We're scrapping away. We're racking slaves, just scrapping, holding into this game somehow. We should have been done a while ago. But Alex countercharges. He does charge over here. Kills this, overruns as expected. He does the right play over here because Shobik could have easily hit the flank or surged into the flank of or even the rear of the Taskmaster. But I have 2 unit strength and he would only have 1 unit strength. So he's going for the right play, which is kill the unit strength here. But he does not get the kill, which is huge. You know what's even more huge is that this Revenant champion misses all of its attacks and does not do a wound to the slave driver. And that is what's going to determine the game in the end here because the slave driver, I charge the flank just because, but it puts him in position to where my 1 unit strength and the monolith is only 1 unit strength for now, but Clash Kings 22, it's going to be this. He would win this game if it's 2 unit strength. But tie in the center here, I'm winning this 2 pointer, and I have a 1 pointer over here. He has 1 and 1, so he has 2 points to my 3 points. And Ratkin slaves pull out a victory. Just to boot, we shoot off that Revenant champion with our 1 fireball and lightning bolt over here. And that's where the game ends. So, yeah, just one of those. I got lucky that Alex made a couple mistakes. And the biggest one is definitely just him charging these individuals when his unit strength 4 unit should just be sitting on that 2 point token that would guarantee him the win basically. Um, so we got lucky, but basically I chalk it up to Alex is still a fairly new player. I think this was his first tournament, in fact. So considering that he played very well, And EoD is not an easy army to pilot. And I was giving Alex some tips and pointers, a lot of stuff after the game, but even in the game, um, he was trying to do some surge tricks, and he would set it up, and I'd just point out, hey, you gotta do this angle so that way you're not surging into your own unit. You can actually hit my unit, and you can accomplish what you want. So. Um, but Alex is a great guy. Had a lot of fun, and uh, I I do like his EOD army. I think that even though it doesn't have everything that I like out of EOD, he does have a lot of fun stuff. The Revenant Cavalry Regiment is pretty good. Um, but it might be pretty good because he rolled really well with it, and then I'm comparing it to my uh, tunnel runners with sharpness that are 100 points more than it, that couldn't do shit this entire event. So I might be just a little salty about that, but in the end, we pull out a win. It you know for attrition, it's not good for us at all. We killed maybe 1,000 points, just over 1,000 points of attrition, and he killed like 1,800 or something. So it was ugly on attrition, but we got the win. So I think it was a 13-8 victory for us. Yeah. Um, so overall, the Rat Slaves are undefeated, but I think it's pretty justifiable to say that there's two games that I easily should have lost. This being one of them, and then my first game against Brian. We should have had two losses and one win over the weekend, but we got scrappy at the end, and held out long enough with the stuff that we had. So a little disappointed in the weekend not being able to get the Kryza Ram using the battering ram ability so that we can do some overrun fun stuff. I don't know if I just didn't put it in the right positions to do it, or maybe my opponents were more aware of it. But uh, in the end, I also think that the formations special rule of blowing up your own unit has way too many restrictions on it to actually be um, worthwhile. But we did utilize that at least to some effectiveness. A couple of times over the weekend, but I wouldn't say that it was really worth it. This Taskmaster on Chariot honestly is just kind of disappointing. Being a defense 4 unit, only has Thunderous Charge 2, doesn't even have Crushing Strength 1. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. The stat line on the thing when you compare it to other chariot type characters, it feels really underwhelming. Um, but that's Ratkin Slaves in a nutshell. I feel like the units that are supposed to do well for us are the tunnel runners, and um, I misplayed them a couple times. I feel like, but then even getting them in good matchups and in the right position, they just were also underwhelming. But I think that was more dice rolling than what averages of what should have happened. So um, overall, I think the Rack and Slave list was fun. It was definitely enjoyable, but it's also just very frustrating just because I feel like a couple of tweaks and this would be, kind of what I was looking for, as just a crazy, fun, random type shit happening all the time. But we never had the randomness that ended up in our favor. It was always the randomness that hurt us. So, um, but definitely one that I'll keep in the back pocket to potentially play again in the future at maybe another one day or something of the like. But it also will probably get some changes in Clash of Kings. I don't remember off the top of my head. I was in playtesting, but I don't think they're getting anything significant from the stuff I was taking. So, um, but yeah, it was fun list, fun event. Appreciate Michael for putting it on, setting up the Airbnb. Had a blast just hanging out, playing some board games on Friday night, Saturday night, and then having no games on Sunday just meant we had a relaxing, able to sleep in, and then drive home, get home at a good time. So this is my last Kings of War event of the year. So I will be taking a break from battle reports until January, and I'll start back up with Kings of Winter is the first one on my 2024 schedule. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, I will likely be doing a video, possibly two, between now and then, because this was the first year of me doing battle reports, and it started in Kansas City. One day in Kansas City as my first one, and it ended there as well. So um, I have some things cooking up, and we'll see what comes out. But I plan on doing a video, just kind of doing a recap and discussing general discussion, maybe some long-winded monologues, just like what I'm doing now on my thoughts of armies and what performed well and what felt good in that Clash 23. But all of that's probably going to be worthless because everybody's happy for the new Clash coming out here in a couple weeks. I think is hopefully fingers crossed when it's actually going to be available. So, uh, but yeah, I'll stop talking now. Appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.